Hey guys, it's me, the Broke Stacker. I'll turn the light on over here. Sorry about that. Today I am going to share with you my very special spaghetti recipe. It's more authentico, if you will. You'll like it. I promise you. You guys make this, you're going to knock it out of the park, and you'll never make spaghetti another way again. So let's get started. You're going to need a large saucepan, a small little frying pan or whatever. You'll see for that in a minute. You don't need that much. You can be a small pot. That's fine. Large pot of water. I just put the heat on that. Always start the heat on that a little bit. Don't go bananas with it. You just want to get it warm so when you actually go to put your noodles in, you crank up the heat and you want to get that roll and boil after everything else is going. You're not waiting there for an eternity waiting for your water to boil. So first things first, always do that. These things come in handy too. So when you're doing a reduction in your sauce, you're not getting sauce splashing everywhere. It really does help. All right, so ingredients. Remember, guys, I always say I always put all my ingredients out first. That way you do not forget anything along the way. You got your noodles. Got some carrots. That's about how much you're going to use. Maybe one less carrot. We'll see. Celery sticks, about 5 of them. You'll see. A couple small to medium onions. They can be white, yellow, purple. It's whatever your preference is. I haven't really noticed a big difference on them when I'm using them, so I just get the cheap stuff, the yellow ones. You can get a huge pack of them. Like, look over here. I got this big old pack of onions today, right? That was $1.25. So versus $1.25 for one large white onion, it's a better way to go. It's a little cheaper, more frugal. It tastes about the same when you're doing dishes like this, and you can use yellow onions in a majority of your dishes. Anyways, fresh parsley, always rehydrate your greens. Wash the crap out of those because I got so much dirt out of them. You can use Italian parsley, regular parsley, doesn't matter. I just go with what's cheap. San Marzano whole peeled tomatoes. I prefer these. This is my last can I had. This is what the store had. You just want some tomato sauce / paste. Lots of olive oil. You know how these olive oil bottles will last forever? It's because you're not using enough. I promise you, you're going to be surprised how much olive oil we use tonight. Some fresh basil. Always have some fresh basil on hand. For our meatballs, this is going to be spaghetti and meatballs, sorry. We got some mild Italian sausage and some 80-20 hamburger. That'll be for when we do our meatballs. And you can take it or leave it with mushrooms. I like throwing some mushrooms in my sauce. I think it gives it more body, a little more depth of flavor. You'll see when we come to that. Whole bunch of spices. I'm going to have black pepper, salt, probably more salt. This stuff's just cheaper, so when you're doing your boiling water for your pasta water, you'd want to make your water the salinity of that of seawater. So it's going to take a little bit of salt. So that's what I like to throw in my pot of water for salt. It's just cheap. I don't have breadcrumbs. I have Blanco apparently. So that's what we're using. For our meatballs, we're going to be doing onion powder, a little bit of ground cinnamon, some, what is that, coriander. Try to mince those up. Don't use the whole balls. You can if you want, but a little bit of garlic. Actually, we're not going to use that much garlic at all, right? Yeah, you'd be surprised. Most Italian food doesn't use a lot of garlic. Not a vampire, right? A little bit of sage. Again, we're going to crush those up a little bit. Fennel seed and some thyme. Also, when we're doing a red sauce, you're going to want a little bit of red wine. Whether you get a bottle that's a couple days old or that's been open, or just open a fresh bottle of red wine. You're going to want that red wine with your red sauce. Another thing you're going to need, guys, is a good sharp knife. So get your knife out. I prefer these V-style sharpeners, especially with the fine sticks. Minimum removal of the edge of your steel will prevent your knives from wearing out in the long term. So minimal removal. Try to stay away from those diamond sharpeners, but when they get bad enough, you're going to need that. Mine aren't normally this bad, but I'm just going to give it a quick hone here. Show you guys how I do it. You just kind of act like you're slicing a piece of bread or whatever. Get each side going. You're going to do that depending on how bad your knife is. Mine's not that bad right now. As you can hear, you can hear it skating a bit, but also pulling just a little bit of material. You're honing more than you're pulling material away, so you always want that. So on this particular sharpener of mine, it's an Idaho. I don't think they make them anymore, but good luck to you. I don't know if you can see that or not. Get that a little closer. Idaho, good stuff. This is my favorite sharpener in the world. I don't know where I was at before this, but I get stuff stupid sharp. That first holes, pegs are at 15 degrees. I believe these are at 25 or so, 22. So 15 or 18, and then 25, 22, somewhere in there. You don't want to do the whole 25, 30. That's going to be more or less for your utility knives. And you also, with a finer blade, like your kitchen knife, you always want to do a finer edge, because you're not going to be, cutting baling wire or something. But we're going to be performing culinary surgery. Here we go. All right, so first things first, we're going to go ahead and chop up some of our celery. We're using a Vitamix blender here. Use whatever blender you want, but this is what we have at the house here. These are kind of smaller celery stalks, so that's why I'm using so many right now. I'm going to save this guy for in your sauce later, you'll see. Put that in there. Now, cut our ends off of our onions. Yeah, it's a little sharp now, sorry. We're gonna keep that guy for later. Got one of our 2 onions here, right? Chop him into quarters so he blends up nice. Throw him in the blender. And we'll also get our carrots. Not gonna work now. Throw that in too. That's one regular sized carrot. Another, you're gonna see why I'm keeping the shorter ends of these too. It makes it a little easier later. And that should be enough carrot right there for our sauce. Got carrots, onion, celery. Also, olive oil, guys. Lots of olive oil. It's like more than you think you're gonna need. It's at least about a cup and a half, 2 cups, right? Get that going. Bottom of your pan's nice and coated with olive oil. I'm gonna pour that on there. I know it kind of looks different, right? What we're gonna do, we're gonna cook this on medium to medium-low heat for about 20 minutes, and it's gonna darken the color of it a little bit, and it's gonna get a lot of the water out. We're gonna go ahead and chop our guys up here. Chop up some carrots, roughly about that big is about ideal, what you're going for the awesomeness of chopping. Now, you're going to see once these start to get a little bit bigger than what you want, and you're a little fatter on the carrot, that's fine. Just so they all cook evenly and they're all about the same size, just split that sucker down the side, down long ways, and chop those up. So yeah, there you go. It should roughly, get our ideal piece out again. It should roughly cook about the same there. Now for the onion. Cut off both ends again. Get that skin off of there, that first outer layer. So, what I do when I chop mine up, I don't know if anybody else does this. I just kind of go like so, cut them down that way, cut them then that way, and then I'll make quick work of them. You know what I mean? You don't want to spend all day chopping. Doesn't have to be perfect, guys. It's just onions. Oh, I'm gonna cry. Ow. Always do your carrots first. They take a little longer to cook. So do your carrots on the bottom. Throw your onions on top. Throw some olive oil in the pan. A couple little grinds of some salt, and then we throw it on the pan. Have it rolling in the background at a low to medium, more or less low medium heat. Okay, you can hear that sizzle going on. I probably got that just a little too high, so just under medium. We're going to turn that guy down. You just kind of want to play with it, get it going. Don't want it to burn. You definitely don't want this to burn. That's why you want to have a more gentle heat. Medium is probably just a little too much. Just go nice and slow, and results will be excellent. See that nice gentle simmer going on in there? That's what you're looking for. starting to darken up now. It's getting really close. We're looking for a little tighter consistency on that, so we're going to let that reduce down some more and get some of that water out of it. So, and to start your meatballs, again, just cut it. This is our 80% meat and 20% fat hamburger we're putting in there. So mild Italian sausage and some hamburger. Before we mix anything together, let's get all our ingredients in there. We'll grind it together. So get some panko in there. It's basically breadcrumbs. I prefer breadcrumbs, but if that's all you have, a little panko is going to work great. That's a little bit of salt, not too much because you already have a lot going on in the rest of the dish. So don't over salt your meatballs. Lots and lots of pepper. I prefer fresh ground like this myself. As you can tell, this thing's only a few months old and I've already gone through an entire container. I use a lot of pepper, guys, so you can use more, use less on all these spices, really. It's just seasoned to flavor. This is just the way I'm doing it. You know, you don't have to do it exactly like I do. But it's kind of the uniqueness of cooking meatballs. It makes it your own. A little bit of sage. Some thyme. Here. Gonna need more now. Let's go a little bit banana. Don't go bananas with it, but you need more than. Don't be shy. This is the only spot in this whole dish we're gonna put garlic. Fresh garlic's better, of course, but just garlic powder for when you're doing your meatballs is fine. A little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder, a little bit of ground cinnamon, not too much. Don't want it to overpower. And I have to go grind up my fennel seed and coriander. Okay, so in the time it took us to just put all those ingredients in the bowl for our meatballs, our sauce over here is starting to look good. Roughly about 15-20 minutes, guys. That's all it really needs. See, it's like almost separating a little bit. It's got a little less water going on in it. I think that's going to be good. You're going to see a little darkening going on. You don't want it turning really dark. This is it went from that baby shit yellow to like a mustard yellow. We're just dumping our tomato sauce. That's what you guys want. San Marzano, product of Italy. The ones that they grow here in the States, they just don't taste the same. So San Marzano Italian tomatoes, that's going to be your best bet. Add a little bit of salt. Spoon in there. Usually I just do it by hand before, but I forgot, so I just do them in there. And you can grind them up with a spoon. Gives it some more texture. That's all good. But you want to blend this all together very finely. You don't want to have any of that separation there. You want to blend it all together very nicely. Okay, now that we got that all blended together nice, now you're going to dump in some big clumps. You're not going to break it up for now. Just some big clumps of your fresh basil. See, also, looks like our little carrot and onion melody and olive oil is coming together nicely. You don't want to go overboard on the olive oil. So you know how when you're doing the fake spaghetti sauce in the can that you get at the store and you have to add sugar to it, well, you don't need to do that because you're going to have this nice sweetness coming from the carrots and it's going to reduce the acidity of your tomatoes. Alright, now back to our meatballs. I just ground up some coriander seed and some fennel seed. We're just going to sprinkle that in on there and then we're going to mix this all up by hand. Another little something I almost forgot. This is why you always put your ingredients out. A little Worcestershire. Put that in there. You're going to need a little more than you think just because that panko is going to suck it up. So about, I don't know, a quarter cup to half a cup, somewhere in there. And then you just mix that all up by hand, guys. See, guys, this is why you always have your ingredients out in front of you, talking to you. That's why I love this thing. Look at all that. That could have been all over my counter, but take your little celery guy in there. You want him in there too. Give him a little stirry stir. You're going to gently stir this because remember, you got those whole basil leaves in there. Here they are. This is the other thing I almost forgot. You can't have meatballs without a little bit of parsley, so There it is, about a third to a quarter of your stock of parsley for 2 pounds of meat for your meatballs. Put in my kitchen. Alright, so I ended up adding just a little bit more parsley in there. Try to chop it up, huge pieces. It's going to start breaking up your meatballs. You definitely want it nice and minced up. That's what you're looking for right there. Anyways, throw that in. Remember what I said? You don't want dry meatballs. We throw a little bit of that Worcestershire sauce in there, that W sauce. Now our Planko's sucked up every last little bit that was already in there. And throw just a little bit more on there. And another secret, if you can find it, I can't find it in my hometown here, a little ricotta. You throw a scoop, say half a cup of ricotta in here, mix it all together too. It's going to make a really juicy meatball. Yeah, it's weird having seen all that parsley in there, but for as much meat as we have here, it's actually not that much parsley. I could go a little bit more, but again, I don't like my meatballs falling apart in the pan, so I'll show you here in just a second the consistency you're looking for. Alright, now this is a topic up for debate. What size do you make your meatballs? Some people like huge ones, some people like itty bitty ones. Me, I'm a bigger fan of the smaller ones, but sometimes when there's all this parsley, sometimes ricotta and other stuff, they don't want to hold together. Plus, I only got the one pan, and I like cooking them all at once. So, divide the size of your pan by how much meatball you got to cook. Make them about that big where it'll cover the whole pan on the bottom, and then you can just gently take them and turn them as you cook them. We're also going to give our onion and carrot melody a little stir. Okay, so you're already going to have quite a bit of grease or whatever going on the bottom of the pan, but you don't want to burn your balls. So yeah, I said that. Anyways, just a little bit of olive oil in your pan. Move it around with a little bit of a paper towel. Gonna just slightly grease your pan, and if you're cooking with cast iron or something, you probably don't even have to do this, but I just like the little peace of mind so I don't burn my balls. Now here we go, forming our meatballs. And another thing, guys, I can't emphasize enough. Cooking should always be fun. It shouldn't be like this chore. Oh, now I gotta cook. Oh, now I gotta do dishes. No, there's an old book out there, The Joy of Cooking or whatever. And I get it now. After cooking, you kind of want to just share the good recipes, not just the recipes themselves, but you also want to share something delicious with your family, something to go there. I'm going to try that out and see how I like that size ball tonight. I've never made them that big before. Yeah, my big balls. But I only have so much space in my pan. We're going to see how these go here. What I typically do, if I was going to use half the meat and water the pan, they'd be about that size. Not that size. I guess I'm going 4 times the size I normally do. You don't have to do these in a skillet on the stovetop. You can also bake them. Get out your baking sheet, put down some parchment paper, whatever, and throw them in there and just let them do their own thing in the oven. You don't have to babysit them, and that's another option. All this right here, this would be all over my countertop. I love these freaking little stainless steel mesh screens. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Not too hot, not too slow. See all that steam coming off of there? That's what you're looking for. You want to get all the water out of your sauce. We're going to go ahead and add our melody of carrots and onions into the mix. Just dump the whole thing in there. After you get that all mixed up, then you're going to tinge your balls. Once you flip over your balls to the other side over there, and they start cooking on the other side, that's when you're going to crank up the heat on your water for your noodles. Okay, after about 10-15 minutes or so, your balls are looking like that, and it should be about ready to flip. So you're going to take your tongs and gently roll them over. You don't want your balls to fall apart. Okay, I moved a few things around, and when I did that, I realized I forgot the mushrooms in the sauce. So I'll save the mushrooms for another meal later, like maybe some Moco Loco. I'll be omitting the mushrooms this time. But if you were to do the mushrooms in your spaghetti and meatballs recipe, the time that we added our onion and carrot melody into the sauce, that would be the time you would put in your chopped mushrooms. Alright guys, as you can see, our meatballs are about done. I turned the heat off, induction heat, it'll retain heat for a while. I'm on low heat on our sauce. I am boiling on our water here. We're just going to add a little bit of salt there. Roughly that much. I don't know, it was maybe a quarter cup, probably not even. Let's call it 3 to 4 tablespoons of salt to your pasta water, and you want to add that after it comes to a boil. Alright, measuring out your noodles, what I do, use my middle finger and my thumb, and I put them together like that. That's about one thing of noodles for, we'll call that for 3 to 4 people. So I'm making a lot tonight because we want some leftovers for tomorrow. So I'm doing kind of a 1.5. So when I do it on a big portion, and you just barely want these 2 fingers to touch together when you have these in your hand. So also, when you put these in, don't break them. Let them just kind of slowly melt, not melt, but hydrate, and then you can get them all underwater and submerged. Okay, so right now, while we're waiting for our noodles to cook, we're gonna go ahead and add our meatballs to our sauce. The reason we're doing that right now, you can, if you just want to do unsauced noodles on your plate and then sauce on top of that, meatballs on top of that, you can do that. But in our house, what we do, we mix it all together in a big pot, and nobody can bitch and complain. The reason I'm doing this with tongs, because all this grease, this animal fat, if you will, trans fat in the bottom of the pan, we don't want that in our sauce. Now, I probably bet you're thinking, what do I do with all this fat? Well, I tell you what, if you love your dogs and you want them to love you, just put it over their kibble. They're gonna love it, I promise you. I just drained out our noodles, and let me set up the camera. Bad boys back in. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. To the tooth, that's how I do it, al dente. So we got our meatballs and our beautiful red sauce. Gonna put that in there and just mix it all together, because that's how we do in this house. Alright, here we go. That's what it's supposed to look like, guys. Now, Mrs. Broke Stacker, what's that smell like to you?
Deliciousness?
Does it smell good?
Yeah, it does.
Are you hungry?
I'm starving.
Alright, put your plate right here. Here we go. This is the magic right here. Oh, make sure we get that sauce, the noodles, the meatballs.
Extra meatballs.
Extra meatballs. You got 3 right there. You want one more? One more.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, we got our meatballs there. Now don't go anywhere. Now we gotta have the reaction, so it's not too bad. Alright, go ahead, Miss Broke Stacker. Tell me what that tastes like. One second. Getting the perfect bite ready to go. Is that good?
Mm-hmm.
Have you had
It's
better?
really good.
Have you had better spaghetti and meatballs anywhere else?
No.
Is this the best
He
you've
used to
ever
make
had?
terrible spaghetti and meatballs, just keeping it real.
Oh, thank
and
you.
now it's amazing.
Thank you. So yes, I've perfected my recipe. Would you say that?
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Do you recommend it to anybody else?
I do.
All right, there
Yeah,
you
try
go,
it.
guys. It's Mrs. Broke Stacker approved. She's picky, so that tells you something right there. Even the cat's hungry. Anyways, until next time, guys. This is a meal that costs, again, about $20, and it feeds about 8 people. So keep stacking, stack 'em high.